I think a lot of companies make the mistake of thinking they're the star of the show. Entrepreneurs do this. Everyone does this. They say, look at me, look at all the cool stuff I'm doing. When in reality, your story is actually just part of your customer story. So the brand needs to be positioned as Obi-Wan Kenobi to the customer, the end customer's Luke Skywalker. So once we take that and we say, okay, how do we help end customers solve their problems? What struggles are they having? How can we be that wise, authoritative figure that weaves in and out of the customer story? Why would they even buy this product to begin with? And it's like, oh, to make their living space better. Maybe they're doing a renovation, whatever it may be, right? And I think that's kind of like where I would start with any product. Going at the consumer with a multi-pronged approach, not just one or the other from a paid perspective, I think is, I think is extremely important when we look at how we tell the story online and how we look at people where they're at, in the funnel and how we can communicate with them. Adidas and Nike are the same product. They're the same product, but people love one or the other, and that's the story. That's not the ad tactics. That's not anything. It's the story that we're buying there. Now they're promoting the story and they're using paid to get that story in front of us, but it's the same product. They all have the same same level of skill, budget, relatively. So what's the differentiator there? And it's the story.
What's the difference between the story and brand?
I think they're the same. The story is how the customer is inferring the data and the content that you're putting out. So brand, people think they're in control of brand. Like, okay, no, you're not. How your customer feels about you is your brand. Nike is a check mark. It is the world's simplest logo. It's a word but we look at it and we think LeBron James, Michael Jordan, like we think Kobe Bryant from a check mark, right? So then there's other companies that, you can see their logo and you probably have a sour taste in your mouth and being like, oh, I don't like what they stand for. So that feeling that customers have when they see your brand, that the visceral response they have, that comes from your story, and that is your brand. If you're chasing perfection or I'll create content next time or I'll do this, you're never going to do it. And I just know for myself, it comes back to that consistency thing and understanding that, and I don't want this to be a platitude, but like that progress really is better than perfection here. Creatives are so afraid of being judged, and everyone's a creative, I believe that, and we're so afraid of being judged. But I urge anyone listening to this, go watch Joe Rogan's first ever podcast on YouTube. It is a train wreck. It's brutal. I guarantee anyone listening to this can create a better piece of content than Joe Rogan's first podcast. Now, you might not agree with his podcast later on, and it's still, he's the biggest podcaster in the world, right? And I think that going and seeing his first one and how much of a mess it is, it's like, oh, he did 1,500. Biggest thing though, where we look at investment, is building out your initial system that ensures that you publish regularly. Lean into what you're good at. If you're a great writer, write. If you're a speaker, speak. If you are a designer, go design. And just lean into that and don't get caught up with like, oh, well, Steve and Jordan have podcasts, so shit, I need a podcast. It's like, no, you might be an amazing designer. Go and make great graphic designs and put those out on social. So that's where I would lean.
Thank you.